Imagine standing in the middle of ancient Rome. The sun is rising over the massive temples. The smell of burning incense fills the air. Thousands of people flood the streets. Musicians are playing. Priests are chanting, soldiers stand guard. But today is not a normal day. Today, Rome is celebrating. For the people of the Roman Empire, festivals were not just parties. They were moments when the entire empire stopped. Politics paused, business closed, and millions of people came together to celebrate their gods, their victories, and their power. These festivals were massive. They filled stadiums. They lasted for days, sometimes even weeks. There were gladiator fights, chariot races, sacrifices to the gods, and feasts that could feed entire cities. But here is the most fascinating part. These celebrations were not just entertainment. They were tools of power. Roman emperors used festivals to control the population, gain popularity, and remind the world that Rome was the center of civilization. Some festivals were joyful, some were mysterious, and some were so wild that historians still struggle to explain them today. So today, we are going deep into the world of ancient Rome. We will explore the biggest and most powerful festivals ever celebrated in the Roman Empire. Festivals that shocked the ancient world, festivals that shaped Roman culture, and festivals that reveal the secret heartbeat of Rome itself. Let's begin. If there was one festival that truly defined Roman culture, it was Saturnalia. This festival was dedicated to the Roman god Saturn, the god of agriculture and time. Every year in December, the entire Roman Empire transformed. Normal rules stopped existing. For a few incredible days, society turned upside down. Masters served their slaves. Slaves sat at the table like kings. People wore colorful clothing instead of formal Roman togas, and the streets exploded with laughter, music, and chaos. Gambling became legal. Drinking was everywhere. Huge feasts filled Roman homes. People exchanged gifts like candles, small statues, and coins. In many ways, Saturnalia looked surprisingly similar to modern Christmas celebrations. But the Roman version was far more chaotic. Crowds filled the streets shouting, "O Saturnalia!" as a greeting. Public banquets were organized for the entire population. And for once, social classes temporarily disappeared. Even the Roman Senate sometimes suspended official business during the festival. But Saturnalia was not just fun. It also carried deep symbolism. Romans believed the festival represented a return to the mythical Golden Age, a time when humanity lived in peace and equality. During this time, the god Saturn ruled the world before the rise of modern civilization. So for a few days each year, Romans tried to recreate that perfect ancient world. No hierarchy, no strict rules, just celebration. But once the festival ended, everything returned to normal. Masters became masters again. Slaves returned to work, and the powerful structure of Roman society came back into place. Yet for those few days every winter, Rome became the most joyful city on earth. Now imagine a festival so unusual that even modern historians find it shocking. This was Lupercalia, one of the oldest and strangest festivals in Roman history. The celebration took place every year in February. It honored the god Lupercus, a protector of shepherds and flocks. But the rituals involved in this festival were unlike anything else in the Roman world. The ceremony began in a sacred cave. According to Roman legend, this was the very place where the founders of Rome, Romulus and Remus, were raised by a wolf. Priests gathered inside the cave. They sacrificed goats and a dog. Then something very strange happened. The priests cut the goat skins into strips. Young men then ran through the streets of Rome, carrying these strips of leather. Why? And because they Roman women believed this ritual would increase the leather straps and bring healthy children. Many women even lined up willingly to be touched during the ceremony. To modern eyes, this festival may seem bizarre. But to Romans, it was a powerful symbol of life, growth, and the future of the city. Lupercalia continued for centuries, even after Christianity began spreading through the empire. Eventually, the festival was banned in the late 5th century. But for hundreds of years, It remained one of Rome's most mysterious celebrations. Now imagine the most famous entertainment events of ancient Rome. The Roman Games. Known as Ludi, these festivals were enormous public celebrations sponsored by wealthy politicians and emperors. They could last for weeks, and they were designed to impress the Roman people. Some of the biggest games were held in honor of the gods. Others celebrated military victories, but all of them had one goal: to entertain the masses. These festivals included many different events: chariot races, theatrical performances, athletic competitions, animal hunts, and of course gladiator battles. Thousands of people packed into massive arenas like the Colosseum. Crowds roared as gladiators fought for survival. Exotic animals from across the empire were brought to Rome for dramatic hunts. Lions from Africa, bears from Europe, leopards from Asia. The spectacle was unlike anything the ancient world had ever seen. Roman emperors often used these festivals to win the support of the population. The more extravagant the games, the more popular the emperor became. Some celebrations included hundreds of gladiator fights. Others featured enormous naval battles where arenas were flooded with water. These festivals were expensive, but they were powerful tools of political control. The Roman poet Juvenal famously described the strategy as bread and circuses. Give the people food, give them entertainment, and they will remain loyal. For centuries, the Roman Games remained one of the most important festivals of the empire. Not all Roman festivals were about violence or power. Some were about beauty. Floralia was the festival dedicated to Flora, the goddess of flowers and spring. It took place every year in late April and early May, and it celebrated the arrival of spring. Unlike many serious Roman ceremonies, Floralia was playful and colorful. People wore bright clothing instead of traditional white garments. Flowers decorated temples and public spaces. The festival included theatrical shows, dancing, and comedy performances. But Floralia was also famous for its wild atmosphere. Some performances involved actors and dancers behaving in outrageous ways. The crowds loved it. People threw beans and peas into the air as symbols of fertility and abundance. Even animals were released into the circus arena during the celebration. Hares and goats ran freely as crowds cheered. Floralia reminded Romans that life was not only about war and politics, it was also about nature, joy, and renewal. One of the most powerful celebrations in Roman history was the Triumph. This was not a regular annual festival. It was a special event held when a Roman general achieved a major military victory. The entire city gathered to witness the celebration. The victorious general entered Rome in a massive parade. Soldiers marched behind him. Captured treasures from conquered lands were displayed to the public. Exotic animals were sometimes included, and captured enemies were forced to walk through the streets. The general rode in a golden chariot through the city. Crowds shouted and cheered as they celebrated Rome's power. The parade ended at the Temple of Jupiter, where sacrifices were offered to the gods. For the general, this was the highest honor possible in Roman society. But triumphs were also political messages. They reminded everyone that Rome was unstoppable, that Roman armies could conquer any land, and that the empire's power was growing stronger every year. Another important Roman celebration was Consualia. This festival honored the god Consus, the protector of stored grain and harvests. Agriculture was the foundation of Roman life, so festivals connected to farming were extremely important. During Consualia, horses and mules were decorated with flowers and garlands. They were given a day of rest from work. Chariot races were held in large arenas. Crowds gathered to watch and celebrate the success of the harvest season. One of the most famous legends of early Rome is connected to this festival. According to Roman tradition, the founder Romulus organized the festival of Consualia to attract neighboring tribes. During the celebration, Roman men kidnapped women from the Sabine tribe in an event known as the Rape of the Sabine Women. While the story is controversial and debated by historians, It became one of the most famous myths in Roman history. Consuelia therefore held both agricultural and legendary importance in Roman culture. Perhaps the most symbolic festival in the Roman calendar was Perilia. This festival celebrated the founding of Rome itself. It was held every year on April 21. Romans believe this was the exact day when Romulus founded the city in 753 BC. The celebration originally began as a shepherd's festival, but over time it became a massive city-wide event. People cleaned their homes and decorated them with flowers. Bonfires were lit throughout the city. Animals were purified in sacred rituals. Food and wine flowed everywhere. As Rome grew into a massive empire, the festival grew even bigger. It became the official birthday celebration of the Roman capital. Emperors used the event to organize grand ceremonies, games, and public feasts. For Romans, this festival was more than a celebration. It was a reminder of their legendary origins, a reminder that their city had grown from a small village into the most powerful empire on earth. When we look back at the Roman Empire, we often think about armies, we think about emperors, we think about wars and conquests, but festivals reveal something deeper. They show us the human side of Roman life. They show us what people loved, what they feared, and what they believed. Festivals brought together slaves and citizens, rich and poor, soldiers and farmers. For a few moments, the entire empire shared the same experience. They laughed together, they celebrated together, and they honored the gods that they believed controlled their world. Some festivals were joyful, some were strange, and some were brutal. But together they created the rhythm of Roman life, a rhythm that lasted for centuries. Even today, many modern celebrations still carry echoes of these ancient traditions, because the truth is, the Roman Empire may have fallen, but its culture, its stories, and its celebrations continue to influence the world even now. And hidden inside these festivals, we can still hear the distant echoes of ancient Rome.